The internet didn't just break, it combusted, exploded, and collapsed in on itself like a dying star. One moment, you're mindlessly scrolling past your cousin's boring brunch photos. The next, you're smacked across the face with a video. So insane, so unexpected, it made the Kardashians' cheating scandals look like a preschool talent show. This wasn't just a leak. This was a cultural earthquake, a digital detonation. The kind of scandal so juicy it makes reality TV feel like reading the tax code. Phones overheated. Timelines froze. Twitter transformed into a chaotic group chat, with millions screaming in unison. People who hadn't tweeted since 2016 dusted off their accounts just to type, "Bro, have you seen this?" This wasn't content. This was pure chaos, bottled and force-fed to the masses. Think about it. Lil Durk, the melodic voice of pain wrapped in diamonds, and King Von, the storyteller whose legacy still shakes the streets, suddenly reappearing, in footage so clean it looked like it was shot for IMAX. Together, caught in a clip that was never supposed to see daylight. And just like that, the internet didn't just watch, it melted. The second this so-called lost video surfaced, everything else in the world became irrelevant. Politicians? Irrelevant. Stock markets? Irrelevant. Even Beyoncé breathing somewhere in California couldn't distract people from the fact that Durk and Von had just been resurrected on their screens. People didn't casually refresh their feeds. They hit refresh like casino junkies slamming, slot machines in Vegas. And what appeared? Von and Durk, side by side, alive in a moment that felt raw, real, and almost too perfect to be coincidence. This wasn't shaky iPhone footage recorded in a dark club. No, this was high-definition, cinematic level, clarity. The kind of leak that makes you wonder if the Illuminati accidentally scheduled the drop. Every pixel screamed authenticity. Every frame carried weight. And the reactions. Oh, they came faster than a Nicki Minaj stan in a Twitter beef. Fans went full FBI mode. Screenshots, freeze frames, zoom-ins, slowed down replays. You'd think this was the Zapruder film of hip-hop. One fan swore Von's chain contained a secret symbol. Another claimed they heard an unreleased lyric faintly in the background. Conspiracy threads exploded like fireworks on Reddit. Some insisted this was footage from a shelved music video, locked away in some dusty label vault. Others believed it was an intimate, private moment stolen from the circle, never meant for public eyes. But the truth didn't matter. Hype did. Blogs had a feeding frenzy. Headlines screamed across the internet like tabloids on steroids. Von speaks from beyond the grave. Durk's lost footage shocks hip-hop. The internet will never be the same again. And fans, they lost it. This wasn't just nostalgia, it was resurrection. Seeing Von alive again, even in a clip, felt like a hologram on steroids. Twitter threads turned into grief counseling sessions. TikTok was flooded with edits so emotional they could make The Rock cry. But trolls, of course, crawled out from their caves. Some called it fake, others said AI deepfake. And the worst of the worst, they called it mid. Yes, there are people so terminally online they can watch a dead legend's smile come back to life and still shrug like it's a reheated McDonald's burger. But for most, this was history in motion. Durk and Von, side by side once again. For fans, it was a time machine. For the industry, it was an earthquake. And for the streets, it was gasoline poured on a fire that never went out. Then the chaos mutated. Celebrities who normally stayed quiet suddenly turned into unpaid TMZ interns. Blue checkmarks everywhere were tweeting hot takes like their careers depended on it. Instagram lives multiplied like rabbits. Some rappers were tearful, some opportunistic, but all of them loud. And the memes. Oh, the memes. Because the internet has a toxic superpower, turning grief into punchlines in record time. Within hours, Von and Durk were photoshopped into Avengers posters, SpongeBob episodes, even WWE SmackDowns. One viral meme reimagined them in Toy Story with the caption, "Von to infinity and Durk beyond." Savage, ruthless, and somehow Still hilarious. Meanwhile, the music industry scrambled. Somewhere, a record exec probably spit oat milk across his desk while an intern screamed, "Sir, the footage is trending in 20 countries." Suddenly, playlists shifted overnight. YouTube recommendations looked like altars, and Von's streams skyrocketed, as if Spotify itself was mourning. But here's where the scandal got darker. Whispers spread of unreleased Von tracks connected to this footage. Fans swore they heard snippets buried in the audio, hidden like Marvel Easter eggs. Reddit detectives wrote essays longer than the US Constitution, claiming Von predicted his own future, Durk's destiny, and possibly global warming all in one bar. Theories spiraled. Was this leak orchestrated by Durk himself, a masterstroke to reignite his reign and remind the world of loyalty? Or was it betrayal, a snake in Von's circle selling memories for clout and cash? And, because this is the internet, of course the Illuminati theory popped up again. Apparently, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and a secret goat ritual were behind it all. Don't ask questions, just retweet. And through it all, Durk stayed silent, which made things worse. Because in hip-hop, silence is louder than a diss track. Fans dissected his Instagram likes, his jewelry, his playlist choices, even the way he blinked in his last music video. Every move was a clue. Every non-move was a scandal. Then came the backlash. The backlash wasn't a slow burn. It was a flamethrower. Fans split into camps faster than Marvel versus DC. On one side, you had people swearing the footage was a beautiful tribute, a bittersweet resurrection that gave them chills. On the other, a mob screaming exploitation, accusing Durk and whoever leaked it of cashing in on grief, like it was Black Friday at Walmart. And if you think fans were dramatic, wait until you hear the celebrities. 21 Savage fired off a cryptic tweet. The "streets ain't ready for what's coming." Just 12 words, and Twitter collapsed into a guessing game louder than a Beyoncé album drop. Was he talking about unreleased Von music, a Durk project, or just tweeting random cryptic things because he was bored? Nobody knew, and that was enough to fuel 10,000 quote tweets. Meek Mill wasn't far behind. He dropped a broken heart emoji on Instagram with no caption, just one emoji. And suddenly the internet was treating it like the Da Vinci Code. Entire YouTube channels popped up with "Breakdown, what did Meek's heart emoji mean?" As if we were decoding state secrets instead of watching rappers play social media charades. And then Drake, Champagne Pappy, Mr. Hotline Bling himself. He didn't even post. He just liked a fan account's post about the footage. That's it, one like. And fans acted like he just resurrected Von personally. Drake knows trended for hours, as if a Canadian cosign had just shifted the balance of the universe. Meanwhile, DJ Academics was having the best week of his life. The man turned Twitch into CNN on steroids. He played the footage on loop, pausing every few seconds to yell, "Chat, you'll see this! Look at this part again!" His chat spammed emojis. His clips went viral, and for a brief moment, it felt like the entire culture was being live-streamed through Academics' microphone. And while all this was happening, the meme machine hit overdrive. The internet has no brakes when it comes to dark humor, and this footage became the ultimate fuel. Von and Durk were inserted into Fast and Furious posters with the tagline, "Family never dies." Someone edited them into WWE intros, with Von walking down the ramp like The Undertaker. Even Pixar didn't escape. Von story memes circulated, with Buzz Lightyear captions, "Von to infinity," and "Durk beyond." It was savage. It was wrong. It was hilarious. And it was unstoppable. But underneath the laughter, there was tension. The culture wasn't just joking. It was grieving, fighting, debating. And every meme carried an undertone of, "We miss this man." That duality made the footage even more powerful, more sacred, more dangerous. And then came the darkest twist. People started pointing fingers. Who leaked it? Was it someone close to Von's camp? A bitter ex-associate? Or, and this theory spread like wildfire, was it Durk himself? Fans accused him of masterminding the leak as a marketing chess move. They said it was too polished, too perfectly timed, too cinematic to be an accident. Others weren't buying it. They said Durk was blindsided, that someone betrayed Von's legacy and Durk's trust. Some even claimed the footage was sold to blogs for a fat paycheck. And because the internet thrives on chaos, a third camp emerged: the Illuminati crowd. According to them, Jay-Z was pulling strings in a candlelit room, sacrificing goats for viral views. Yes, really. Every hour without answers made the theories wilder. And Durk? He stayed silent. No tweets, no lives, no press statements. That silence turned him into a mystery, and mysteries turn into monsters on the internet. Meanwhile, the industry smelled blood in the water. Von's streams surged. His catalog lit up charts like Christmas lights. Old videos resurfaced on trending. TikTok teens who barely knew Von's discography suddenly flooded the app with edits, dancing to his songs while pretending they'd been fans since day one. Labels quietly pushed his music harder, hoping to cash in on the storm. It wasn't just about a video anymore. This was about control. Who controls Von's legacy? Who owns the narrative? The fans, the blogs, the labels, or Durk himself? The internet turned into a courtroom with no rules, where everyone was judge, jury, and executioner. And the streets, they were watching closely. Old rivalries reignited. Subtle shots were thrown. Indirect captions started popping up from rappers who hadn't spoken Von's name in years. It was as if this footage had awakened ghosts, pulling the past into the present with a vengeance. The tension was palpable. Every repost, every meme, every stream added fuel to a fire that had never fully died. The streets don't forget. And Von's presence, even through a screen, carried weight heavier than 1,000 op-eds. The internet melted once. But now it was combusting. And the scariest part? Everyone knew this wasn't the end. The aftermath was brutal. By the time the dust even began to settle, the damage was already everywhere. Fans divided, reputations dented, and the culture itself questioning what the line between tribute and exploitation really looks like. For days, timelines looked like a digital civil war. One half of the internet was crying, posting heartfelt messages about how much Von's presence meant, how the footage gave them goosebumps and chills. The other half, they were sharpening knives, dragging Durk and anyone connected to the leak, like it was a public stoning. Comment sections turned into gladiator arenas. People weren't just debating, they were fighting for their lives in 240 characters. One fan would type, "This was a beautiful tribute," and 10 trolls would swarm back with, "Nah, this was clout chasing of the highest order." Screenshots flew like bullets, threads piled higher than conspiracy boards, and suddenly, everyone was a morality professor lecturing on what respect for the dead really means. But here's the twist. The silence from Durk only made things messier. Normally, artists jump in with clarifications, maybe a heartfelt post, maybe even a slick PR statement. But Durk, nothing. Radio silence. And that silence became the biggest headline of them all. Because when you say nothing, the internet fills the gaps with everything. Some fans swore he was grieving privately. Others said he was letting the streets speak for him, and a vicious crowd accused him of being the mastermind, laughing behind closed doors while the internet set itself on fire. Every day without a word from Durk was another day of wild accusations and endless conspiracies. Von's family entered the storm too. For some, the footage was bittersweet, a reminder of who he was, the energy he brought, and the way he lit up a room. For others, it was a violation, an invasion, a wound reopened without consent. Their words added weight to the chaos, because this wasn't just fan speculation anymore. This was family. And then came the ripple effects in the streets. Rivalries reignited. Captions got shady. Diss tracks simmered beneath the surface. This wasn't just nostalgia anymore. It was a trigger. The streets never forget, and Von's ghost wasn't just haunting. It was influencing. Every leaked frame felt like it carried messages, like it reignited wars that were never finished. Meanwhile, the industry quietly kept cashing in. Streams soared. Von's name trended for weeks. Old songs were repackaged, playlists curated, marketing, plans redrawn. TikTok flooded with kids who suddenly discovered Von's discography and acted like they'd been there from day one. The machine didn't just capitalize, it cannibalized. The cultural fallout was undeniable. Blogs pumped out think pieces. YouTubers milked the footage for ad revenue. Fans turned grief into entertainment. And through it all, Von's face, his smile, his presence dominated every screen, every conversation, every debate. The deeper question haunted everyone. Who owns Von's legacy now? His family? His friends? Durk? Or the internet itself? Every meme, every stream, every post shaped the narrative in real time, twisting his memory into whatever story people wanted it to be. Tribute and exploitation blurred until nobody could tell the difference anymore. And Durk. His silence turned him into both villain and victim. Some painted him as a grieving brother keeping quiet out of loyalty. Others painted him as a schemer, pulling strings for clout. The truth didn't matter anymore. The perception had already taken root. And in the court of public opinion, perception is reality. What this leak really proved was simple. Legends never die. Not in hip-hop, not on the internet, not in the streets. A few minutes of raw, unseen footage resurrected Von's presence so powerfully that the world stopped to watch, and it forced everyone to confront an uncomfortable truth. Hip-hop doesn't know how to let its dead rest. It turns them into gods, memes, conspiracies, content. The internet melted once, then it burned again, and it will keep combusting every time another clip surfaces, every time another memory is unearthed, every time the culture can't resist feeding on its own nostalgia. Because this wasn't just a lost video. This was a resurrection wrapped in scandal, a digital ghost haunting millions of screens, and a reminder that the line between honoring someone and exploiting them is thinner than ever. And the scariest part, everyone knows this isn't over. If one video leaked, what else is out there? What other unseen moments, unreleased music, private clips are waiting in hard drives like ticking time bombs? Fans are convinced this was only the beginning. The appetizer before the real feast. Hip-hop has always thrived on chaos. But this was something bigger. This was history, comedy, grief, outrage, and profit, all colliding in one messy explosion. This was the internet doing what it does best, turning pain into content and content into legend. Durk and Von together again. Not in life, but in pixels. And in those pixels, the culture melted, combusted, and reminded itself why these names will never fade. So here we are. The smoke is still thick, the memes are still flying, and somewhere, a poor fan is still zooming in on a blurry frame convinced they've cracked the hip-hop Illuminati code. But let's keep it real. You didn't just sit through this wild roller coaster of chaos, memes, theories, and scandals to quietly click away, did you? Nah, you're here because scandals like this are oxygen, and Rap Truth is the oxygen tank. So smash that like button like it just leaked your private video, hit subscribe like you're entering witness protection, and turn on notifications like your phone is about to drop the next Von clip at 3 a.m. Drop a comment too. I don't care if it's a conspiracy theory about Durk orchestrating the whole thing, or just a wall of crying emojis. Say something. Silence might work for Durk, but it doesn't work here. And remember, scandals don't stop. They don't take weekends off. They don't rest for holidays. This culture runs on chaos the way Starbucks runs on pumpkin spice lattes. Blink once, and you'll miss the next meltdown. So stay strapped in, because here at Rap Truth, legends don't die, scandals don't sleep, and the internet never stops melting. This is Rap Truth, signing off until the next bomb drops.